Alone is a 2020 thriller directed by John Hamm, huh, John Hams,
I am coming for you.
about a woman moving away from her town or from where she lives back to her hometown, and while this happens, she is stalked by a guy. And that's all I'm going to say about the plot, because it continues to escalate and get more and more gripping and intense as the movie goes on, which is the best compliment you can give a thriller, in my opinion, is to say that it continues to build suspense from start to finish, because if you're doing that, then you don't know what to expect. The performances are fantastic. It builds tension so well. Everything complements each other nicely. The music and sound design are great. Visually, it's beautiful. I'm from Western Canada, so seeing this type of nature is always nice in a movie. It reminds me of home. It does such a good job of building the suspense and tension that you start to turn knots in your stomach. I realize I can't really say everything I want to without spoiling the movie. So right here, I'm going to give it my rating. I realize that before this, it's really just been me kind of praising it and giving recommendations. It's not flawless. I do think that there are some parts that could have been paced out a bit better in the middle. But for the most part, I thought that this movie was exceptionally good with very few faults. But it didn't do anything so incredibly original that it made me change the way I think about these kind of movies. So really good, not super inventive, just like a really well done version of this type of movie, I guess. I mean, it gets awesome towards the end, and this is where it gets hard to talk about without spoiling things, so I'm going to do a halfway point, end the review here, and then go into spoiler territory to continue my thoughts. So if I've already kind of got you interested in it with the limited knowledge that I've given you, I recommend this movie. I'm giving Alone an 8 out of 10. Now we're getting into spoiler territory, so stop here. Unless you're fine with spoilers or have already seen the film. So the introduction and the escalation of the character Man, as he's listed on IMDb, played by Mark Menchaca, is fantastic. Because the way it starts is just he's some asshole on the road. Then he's kind of an awkward guy. And then he's a cause for concern kind of awkward guy. Then he's a creepy guy. Now he's scary and you need to watch out. To you hate his fucking guts. When he kidnaps her, dude, Mark just gives a fantastic performance. Every word makes my fucking skin crawl. When he tells her to take her clothes off, I was like covering my eyes because I was just so mortified for her, just for her character. But not even just that. I was feeling sick because I was getting the impression that he was enjoying it. And that made my fucking skin, like, it felt like insects were crawling under my skin. I couldn't look at the screen. I felt so horrible for her character, and I didn't want it to play out the way it did. Thankfully, it didn't. Jules Wilcox plays Jessica, and I loved her performance. She goes from being depressed and sad. In the film, her character loses her husband. He commits suicide, and she starts off broken. What the movie does that I really enjoyed is that it takes this even more horrific experience. It just puts her through the ringer, and she comes out stronger on the other side, which I loved. Her character basically goes from being kind of frail and sad and anxious, as you would be, and is understandable, to being a heroine. She becomes a hero. She kind of becomes a female Rambo by the end of the movie. She goes through hell and back and comes out accomplished on the other side. She overcame. The movie ends on her smiling. And it makes you feel good, but you also feel horrible because of how much she had to go through to get to that point. And I don't even know, maybe that's just the way I interpret it right now, but there's kind of a thought in the back of my mind that it's not a happy ending and that she's even worse off than she was at the start of the film. But I interpreted it the good way because I like to have hope. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. If I do have one negative, I felt that like the weird relationship that she has with her mother felt a little unnecessary. I felt that kind of distracted from some of the other stuff in the movie. I don't feel that it ever resolved in a satisfying way, her relationship with her mom, because it feels strained and it feels like there's tension there, but it's not explored as much as I thought would have been good. I could have said that in the first half of the movie, or first half of the review, but oh well. I liked Alone a lot. I'd highly recommend it. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. Surprised to see that it's not actually getting that positive a reaction. Like I said, it's not perfect, and it doesn't do anything too groundbreaking. It takes a plot that has existed for a long time, and it just does it really well. And I think that's fine. I don't think you always have to be the first person to do something, so long as you're putting yourself into it and doing it really well. And I think they did this film really well. So Alone gets that 8 out of 10 that I mentioned earlier. Thanks for watching.